After three, then the three,
I'm ready.
two, one, and now on Chatterbox UK, we're just lucky enough to have Lee John. Lee, hello, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm keeping well, thank you. It's been a heavy time, but we're persevering through.
You're looking good, mate. You are really looking good. Right,
Thank you.
it's always best to start at the beginning. So, music. You've had a really big, long music career, fantastic one. But how did it start? As a kid at school, musical family. Tell us about it, please.
It was actually when my parents split. I went to America and in the late '60s,
Mhm.
and I actually had a recording contract as a kid. Obviously, it was the Jackson Five period, so
Uh-huh.
yeah, they were signing all these little kids and stuff. And I got signed, but my father wasn't really for it. So I got pulled out of that, came back to London to live with my mum. And when I was in school, I hooked up with another friend of mine who was interested in writing and singing and dancing and all that kind of stuff. And I was always writing as a kid and singing and acting and dancing and in bands and everything. So we performed a group. We used to go to all these different record companies and
Mhm.
writing and all this kind of stuff. At that time, I was also going to Anna Shear's theatre group.
Mhm.
I was doing a lot of different things. I was really ambitious, would be the word, and very. I wanted to be the best at what I could do, so I kept learning. Like now, I'm still learning.
Mhm. Mhm.
Life is an education. I always believe that, and I'm still learning the technology, especially nowadays. So we got signed by the manager of Spiders from Mars, who David Bowie's band,
Okay.
and they just split from David Bowie. We got signed with Snaz Records, which was a subsidiary of EMI Records. And we recorded two tracks, One Life to Live and Get Up, which I've got in my vaults, which no one will hear until I probably pass.
Okay.
and
I hope that's a
the
long
story,
time.
yeah, I mean, the story behind that is we had the backing vocalists that sang on Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side. They were called Thunder Thighs,
Wow.
and the
I'm
backing
impressed.
musicians, yeah, the backing musicians were Gonzalez, who were one of the top session musicians. They sang "Hamster Dancing," yeah. They did that, and they were backing every band in the UK, and they were the sessions for us. So I learned a lot from all of that,
Hmm.
and nothing happened with the track. And so I decided to learn about being in the industry. So my sister was part of a drama group, which I became part of. And there was a band in one of the shows that we were doing who gigged all over the place. And they asked me to join the Sun Valley Serenaders.
Okay.
And they played steel band, calypso, reggae, soul, funk, music of the day, and I was part of that. They asked me to join. So I think one of my first gigs was in the Queen's Head in Peckham Rye,
Hmm.
and we toured all the. Oh my goodness, it was great. It was a wonderful experience. I played in bingo halls to 2,000 people every Saturday. The pubs. I was in the George Canning pub in Brixton and working man's clubs. I mean, people back in the day kind of remembered me before Imagination. That's the funny thing because they knew
Nice.
that was the kid that used to play at all these places.
Wow.
So it
Nice.
gave me great experience. And then I started doing sessions. I was doing sessions, and I was also working full time and going to the clubs. I was part of this whole jazz funk scene. It was like a movement. So a lot of people I knew came from all this club scene, which is what I was part of. This whole movement, and we go to the record shops on a Saturday and buy £15 albums from America, 15, because I was always into going to Contempo and buying my Bible, which was blues and soul, and going to Cheapo Cheapo in Rupert Street, buying all the records. I was a record fan, and you'd look on the back of the albums to see who sang, who played, and sing a lot of live shows. I remember going to the Rainbow Theatre in Finsbury Park, which is
Oh
where I
yeah.
lived, and Hammersmith Odeon, and then for a short time I wanted to be a journalist. So I was writing with West Indian World,
Hmm.
and became a part-time journalist. And we interviewed myself and my friend interviewed quite a few different artists at the time. People like the Brothers Johnson we interviewed. I think we met. Who did we meet? Tina Turner. Ike and Tina Turner when they were together. And that was a really interesting experience, you know. But we were still very young and full of vibrancy and doing different things. And then it came towards the end of the decade when I'd done loads of sessions, and one of them was with Trevor Horn,
Mhm.
who's the big producer. He's done Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Grace Jones, Seal. And we worked together on a track called Got to Be Good. That got sent to an A&R guy, Morgan Khan.
Mhm.
He just opened up a new label called R&B. And he called me in and said, look, I really love this track. I'd like to sign you. So he was going to sign me as a solo artist. And they said, well, we want to add some American stuff on it because, you know, it needed this, needed that. And we tried to do something with it, but it didn't work. So he sent it to America and they lost the master.
Oh,
And that was the end of my career. I thought, oh my gosh. So one of the directors was really into me. And he said, look, we really apologize. We apologize. We've lost your track. So, but we believe in you as an artist and a writer. So we'd like to put you together with a producer, which they did. And I met Tony Swain in the hallway. I remember he gave me a little tiny cassette, very rough cassette. I took it home and I wrote the lyrics and the melody to what became Body Talk. At that time, I was doing loads of sessions, different groups, and Ashley Ingram, my bass player, was playing on one of the groups I was with. I used to drag him to all these sessions with me. And henceforth, you know, we were trying to be like Ashford and Simpson because I loved their gospel harmonies. And they were one of my favorite groups of all time. So we went into the studio and I called him in and said, look, I've written this song, blah, 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 I want you to be part of it. Went in, recorded the vocal, but we rehearsed it and rehearsed it and rehearsed it and rehearsed it. I remember so much, so well, like it was yesterday. And everybody was like astounded by what they heard and what they saw. And Morgan and Tony Khan, Morgan Khan and Tony Swain, who was the producer with me, mixed it, put it together, and that's what became Body Talk.
sure.
And then later on, we brought Errol in to create the Imagination sound, the Imagination group, because we wanted to have that kind of. We'd been in groups, I think, that had about 15 members in them. By this time, no one ever got any money. So I thought, let's visually have it looking like a three-man outfit, like what Police had.
So that's cool. Very cool. And I was just thinking, thank goodness that we are talking about your master being lost 40-something years later than it just happening. At least we can look back.
I know, I've got an acetate of it somewhere. Wow. I have an acetate of one of the mixes. And it's just, you know, I'm just developing as a vocalist on it. You can just hear me. And next year we got a 40th anniversary. So we're bringing out like 14 albums and some tracks that people have never heard before and some different mixes and stuff. It's going to be a fantastic box set. And I'm picking and choosing what goes on this box set, you know, because besides the main hits from In the Heat of the Night and Scandalous and Trilogy and Closer and the albums that I've done, my jazz album will be in that package as well. Right. So, and a few other bits and pieces. So it's going to be some live tracks that people have never heard us doing. I remember we went to Russia and we did a tour there. And there's like, I think, a 15-minute version of Body Talk, which sounds wicked. You know, you got to hear it. Sure yeah, it really sounds wicked. So things like that are going to be on there. And certain songs that we said that were going to be on albums that never were and things like that. And different versions of some of the songs. So it's going to be quite a career thing. But I've been involved in a lot of different things, as you know, I think. I've been producing documentaries for the last 10 years, possibly. And I've done a couple for SOS Children, which I'm a sponsor for, a patron for, in Zambia, in South Africa, and also Tunisia. I recently did a special documentary for the community in North London, really about people who lived in the community, different types of people, a gang member, ex-gang member, a policeman, my best mate, Leroy Logan, who was portrayed in the Steve McQueen Small Axe series, Red, White and Blue, and this is his book, Closing Ranks, so you can buy that. And actually, I'm in there, I think, somehow or another, but, you know, but I was portrayed in the film recently by Tyrone Huntley, and John Boyega, who just received as a Golden Globe Award, portrayed Leroy. So I'm very proud of him, and
Oh, you should
I
be.
think 30, 40 years later, somebody's portraying me on the screen. So that was quite because we were always great friends, but you know our professional life went different ways, but we always were family. You know, that's one of the situations. So there were many different dynamics to what Lee John is about and what people saw out there, but what was inside here.
Mhm. I mean, I can understand why you chose Lee John, but why does Lee have three E's? Are you told that all the time? Was it just a bit different?
I've been told all the time, read the biography. That's all in there. I'm not going to even go into it.
That's always another question.
I'm not even going to, I'm not even, because everyone asks me that, and I'm thinking, it's all online. It's all on there.
Well,
Ask me a better question.
well, the questions I ask, and I'll be honest with you, the questions I ask is what I think people at home thinking, oh, I wonder why he's got three E's in his name.
Well, you would think that, but I think people want to know more interesting things. I think people, you should never underestimate your audience, you see, because the thing about it is, I think I try and be as real as I can. And I think that it's gone past the days when, you have so much accessibility now because of the mobiles and stuff like that. So I think people want to hear something a little bit more about the person, thing like what I went through, my whole life experience. And I think that's important. And we have to stretch ourselves as individuals now. And what was a fantastic time. So from that, I think we need to bring out more, not the same old, same old. So next,
What do you talk? Yeah, number four in the UK charts, it looks like. But then that was, I mean, when you first got into the UK charts with that song, very first time, and it sort of escalated, like it snowballed from there, because you had four back-to-back hits in a very, very short period of time. Big
all
hits.
from the same album. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, from Body Talk, oddly enough.
Yeah, I mean, we had Body Talk In and Out of Love, Flashback, and in the club charts we had Burning Up, which was number one, and So Good So Right in America. In Canada we had Tell Me Do You Want My Love, which was number one, all from the same album. So it was like I didn't think we were going to pass that at all. I thought that was it. And then we did the In the Heat of the Night album, which was very tough. The second album is always really tough to do, especially writing it. And we were not a kind of a group where everything was done for us. I was very involved, very proactive in the writing, the creating, the look, everything like that. And it was a time when punk had just kind of transitioned everybody. Everybody was rebelling. And I came from this punk funk scene, and it was new wave. So, the guys had more makeup on than the girls. We were dressing so out there. Well, nowadays it makes no difference. Everybody's out there now. So, what we did was just, I think we were ahead of our time in what we did. And we got a lot of that from Earth, Wind and Fire and punk, Funkadelic and stuff like that. And by the time we did the second album, In the Heat of the Night, we were in America when all of a sudden Just an Illusion exploded in the UK. And I remember Frankie Crocker, one of the biggest DJs in America, he played it as an exclusive, but it hadn't been released in the States yet. And it just went crazy. It was just really a milestone for our career, and then Music and Lights and Changes, and of course In the Heat of the Night. So it was a time when there were songs, and there, you had your grooves and stuff, but you had songs that really meant something to you in those days, and it carried you, really carried you. And the audiences were, I mean, we started our first tour, I think it was 82, 83, and the audience were just amazing. I mean, I'm here because of the audiences, really. That's the main thing.
I mean, do you think, perhaps, looking back, it's easier looking back and, knowing it all, but that really was a big, it hit big very, very quickly. I mean, did you feel like you were just getting carried away? Was it actually bigger than you thought it was going to be? Because obviously you hoped you'd be a success, but was it bigger? Because it's big.
Well, I think I've been a performer, an artist in training. I've been training all my life for this moment.
Sure.
So by the time we started to become successful, it became about the work. So
Uh-huh.
all that body of all the training I had done was useful. In other words, so basically everything I'd done, playing in all these different bands and a group called Fizz and oh god, La Boss and so many different things, wonderful experiences. But then by the time Imagination went bam,
Mhm.
because I'd actually been to Germany before with another thing. I was always doing diverse things, which I've come back to doing now actually. But it was just now I had to just focus on this one thing.
Uh-huh.
And for me, that was very hard in a sense. That was very, very hard. It just had to be imagination. And I wanted to. So I did a bit of acting, did a bit of this, producing, whatever.
Mhm.
But it was, I think it took me to maybe 3 or 4 years in the game when the successful years of Imagination, where I think we were in Spain and we were in a bullfighting ring
Ah,
and we were doing a show there. And I just looked up and I just turned around and I thought, my goodness, wow, And it was like, it just hit me now. This is like, we're on a second album and we're promoting all the songs, and
mhm.
this is now kind of hit me. I mean, I had many moments like that. Even later on, we at the ending of the '80s, into the early '90s, we went to Russia. We did a tour of Russia, and we were playing all these arenas, and it was I thought, look how far the music has got.
Yeah.
To Russia, to Romania, to what's the place we went to? Bratislava and Georgia, and we were playing these arenas, and I'm thinking, look, this audience, and it's just it's frightening, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, and it's a blessing as well, to think how far from North London, where I'm from, down the road from the Arsenal, that wow, it's taken me on this journey, and I'm wow. So I think
Love
it's
it.
been it's you. I mean, destiny is something else. You just really don't know. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I managed to put the work in, so therefore it made it all worthwhile.
Mhm. So basically, it sounds like by as early as the second album, it sounds like you were overnight playing a venue every night, a bit like going to Highbury every night. So it's amazing. Like, that's the
It
comparison to
was. We
your
did
part of the
all the
world.
clubs.
Brilliant,
Yeah,
absolutely
we did
brilliant.
all the clubs. I mean, people coming back to me and saying, "I remember you from Crackers when you used to go down to Crackers." I said, "Yeah, I used to go lunchtime Crackers," and I meet them when we're doing a PA at the Americas, or we were playing. Where did they play? We were on a boat someplace doing a PA. We were really. I mean, to the point where with the first album, I would say, in particular, we were told you have to promote Europe because they'll stay behind you. And I didn't understand that. And we got in this Citroen with our manager, and we went all over France, all over Italy, all over Germany, and we went to every radio station. It was, believe me, a journey and a half. And they said, by the time you get back to the major city and your album's released, everybody will know you. And it worked out. And even when things started to die down a bit, and you bring out something in these territories, it went crazy. It really.
Mhm.
And I found later on that we'd have different songs in different areas, even in America, that were bigger there than they were here.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
'88, we had a number one in the Billboard Hot 100 with Instinctual, which
Mhm.
brought to the public David Morales. That was a big hit he had with us. While here, I think it was top 40 or 50 or something like that. But over in America, it was a completely new sound. And it was like, I'll house you, I'll get into it. So it brought us different audience, different types of mixes. And I've always had this kind of DJ affiliation as well.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, obviously, well, it's right through the 80s, 81, right through to, basically, you might as well say it's right through to 89. When it started sort of dying off chart wise, I mean, obviously, that's nothing to do with anything you were doing more than anyone else's chart career, sort of lower and lower and lower in the top 100.
Mm.
But were you disappointed, or were you still happy you could still get a good crowd to the gig? I mean, how was it for you? Because obviously things change.
Well, I wanted to do more production. I wanted to do it like I did, I appeared in Doctor Who and things like that. And I also, did all different styles and stuff. But I was writing a lot, a hell of a lot. I had a lot of catalogue that, as Imagination, couldn't put out because it was not the style people were looking for.
Sure.
And the music, and I was very realistic. I knew that, we'd have a good time. We'd have everybody has their period.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had observed other people's careers and saw, well, it gets to a certain level. And we were very, very blessed and lucky because a lot of British black groups didn't last that long, but we
Sure.
stemmed throughout the whole decade
Yeah.
on different situations. So we were very lucky. And then, and in actual fact, when we broke, a lot of record companies took the risk in signing a lot of British black music. They weren't before. They weren't.
Okay.
They were basically very, you had High Tension coming in, and that was it, and Light the World, but
Mhm.
they didn't really think, you know what, let's take homegrown British black music and work at it, really A&R it, get behind it, and I think they saw us as the whole package because they thought we were American when we first came out
Sure.
onto the scene. So because they saw that, it was all refined. It was like ba 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 ba, which is what we were trying to be, very much like we were an American act and da da da. They thought, okay, we can do that. We've got it here. We don't have to always rely on the Americans. And all of a sudden, you saw bam, 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 all these British artists coming out there. Henceforth, I've created a film documentary which has taken me the last decade called Flashback: The
Mhm.
History of UK Black Music, and which I've interviewed over 100 artists
Wow.
from the. No, it starts from the turn of the century, but I haven't gone back there. But I've interviewed a lot of people who have knowledge of the turn of the century, and all the way through into today's music. So it's taken me a lifetime to finish this. So we're very, very, very close. But
So we can
going back
see
to
that
your
in
question,
cinemas, maybe.
you will be seeing it very soon. I'm not going to say when, but it will be very. I'd say within in the next year, definitely,
Oh.
without a doubt. There's a few things going on there, and about the period when I started doing work with in the '90s with Peter Rohafa,
Mhm.
and I had hits with him. I remember we had a track called It Gets Much Better and Sugar Pie Guy in America. They were really big. And then I worked with Arthur Baker and the Backbeat Disciples. I remember singing on, even on a Take That record, I doing backgrounds. A lot of people don't even know. I even forgot. I was on a Eighth Wonder record with Patsy Kensit, singing. I did something for More Protein. Oh my God. And the good thing with Arthur Baker, I sang a duet with two duets with Tata Vega.
Mhm.
For those of you who are really diehard soul fans, she was on Motown and she sang "Hey baby, get it up for love." She sang that, and she also sang on the Color Purple
Okay.
"Sisters." Da, da, ba, da, da. Fantastic voice. And then I seem to have a big DJ following as Lee John. And then in '95, I think, I had a big hit with The Mighty Power of Love, which became an anthem. And in America, I remember I was doing Reborn in USA in 2003, 4, something like that. And we went to Detroit, and these guys were saying, "Are you Lee John? Because, your record, My Power of Love." At the end of the night, everybody would be playing this power, 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 this record all the time. And I didn't even know that it was so huge. And so I just started to find out about, where the music what it had brought to other people. Um, and then ending in the '90s, I had a UK garage hit with DJ Fantasy, Mind, Body and Soul.
Mhm.
So all my nieces and nephews are dancing to me again on the dance floor and telling me, "Oh, uncle, I'm on all these compilations with Mind, Body and Soul." And then it took me into the 21st century, and I decided I wanted to always do a jazz album.
Mhm.
And I went to Rochefort in La Rochelle, near La Rochelle in France, and a good friend of mine, Stefan Parolo, decided, this is a period where people are going to want to be filming what you do.
Mhm.
And so he pushed me into creating the making of Feel My Soul, which is what I'd never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most amazing experiences and has become in itself a classic album because we did a CD and DVD together.
Okay.
So the making of from London to Paris to La Rochelle, driving to Rochefort, a beautiful moment, and which is all filmed. So it's like a wonderful moment. And the album did extremely well for me. And we also did a live album in Paris. And so that was a musical interesting moment. And then I think one of the tracks, Sensuality, I think it got top 10 in America. I think it did, and in Europe, something like that. Um, yeah, so that was a very interesting moment for me. And then moving on, I've had, what have I done? I did stuff with the British Collective, which is Junior Giscombe, Omar,
Mhm.
Donny. We had a number one soul track, Love Me Tonight. It was great working with them because I've known them for a long, long time. So it was
Yeah.
really cool working with, homegrown, really talented British artists. I've also done stuff with Jane Faustin, a singer from France. She was in a group called Zouk Machine.
Okay.
And we had a hit record over there, a version of Just the Two of Us.
Hmm.
And I produced a track for the late, one of my dear, 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 dear friends, Mary Wilson of the Supremes.
Oh
She
yeah.
had her first dance hit record with me in 2016 called Time to Move On. I think got to number 12, and that's the first time she'd been on the front cover of Billboard magazine since the 70s. So I was really pleased for her, and it was a privilege to work with an icon.
Sure. No, absolutely.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
and it was one of the most amazing experiences, and has become in itself a classic album because we did a CD and DVD together.
Okay.
So the making of, from London to Paris to La Rochelle, driving to Rochefort, a beautiful moment, and which is all filmed. So it's like a wonderful moment. And the album did extremely well for me. And we also did a live album in Paris. And so that was a musical, interesting moment. And then I think one of the tracks, Sensuality, I think it got top 10 in America. I think it did, and in Europe, something like that. Um, yeah, so that was a very interesting moment for me. And then moving on, I've had, what have I done? I did stuff with the British Collective, which is Junior Giscombe, Omar,
Mhm.
Donny. We had a number one soul track, Love Me Tonight. It was great working with them because I've known them for a long, long time. So it was
Yeah.
really cool working with, homegrown, really talented British artists. I've also done stuff with Jane Faustin, a singer from France. She was in a group called Zouk Machine.
Okay.
And we had a hit record over there, a version of Just the Two of Us.
Hmm.
And I produced a track for the late, one of my dear, 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 dear friends, Mary Wilson of the Supremes.
Oh
She
yeah.
had her first dance hit record with me in 2016 called Time to Move On. I think got to number 12, and that's the first time she'd been on the front cover of Billboard magazine since the 70s. So I was really pleased for her, and it was a privilege to work with an icon.
Sure. No,
There's
absolutely.
there's a loads of different things I've been doing. So
Nice.
now I'm at Boysdale May the 28th, 29th,
Hmm.
and in July, and that's in Victoria, London, and I'm in the Canary Wharf. I think it's July the 16th. You're gonna have to check my website www.leejohn.com gig guide because I'm mad about the dates. I can't remember half of everything. I'm doing a few festivals and stuff when everything opens up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have a duet. I've got a few different duets because we've been sitting back at home. I've been working on the film and also on music. Um, I have a smooth jazz album with Bill Sharp of Shack Attack. It's a really lovely album.
That
So
sounds
some
nice.
great, great, great songs on there. And I love Bill. He's just a great, great talent. Shack Attack were like
Oh,
a
amazing.
brother sister group to us. Yeah.
Jill's actually already been on this show, so yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I did a duet with her once, which is on their album. They're one of their albums. I think Blue Savannah,
Okay.
beautiful song. And then I have a track, a duet with a Belgian artist, which we have a meeting with actually in the next hour, called Plastic Bertrand. If you remember Plastic Bertrand, his record right now, you can hear it on the Kellogg's Cornflakes commercial. They're playing it all the time. It's an old song.
Yeah.
And we have a fantastic song I wrote called Don't Stop. And it's really, really, really positive. It's actually called Don't Stop the World from Turning. So it's quite relevant. And it has a kind of Daft Punk, Imagination is Chic feel. It's very funky and it's very uplifting. And we're praying to do the video in the next couple of weeks. And then I also have a track with another French band, which they want to film. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
there with different things, and so I'm filming, doing all that, and then I'm doing the music. I don't, the funny thing about what we had in the 80s, and we talked about the chart success and stuff like that. It was like recently I did a track with the Gorillaz with
Mhm.
Damon Albarn. Here's the album,
Wow.
The Lost Chord. A
Nice.
lot, and
Nice.
it's brought me a whole new. Oops, everything's falling down. It's brought me a whole new audience,
Mhm.
which has been great, and they come from all areas of South America and the Orient, and they've like delved into this whole Lee John thing as well as checking the old stuff with imagination. And they're on Twitter and on Instagram and on Facebook. I mean, especially Instagram and Twitter. They're like every day I get these responses, which is fantastic. So they've like they like my look. They like all the because I'm still into the fashion and stuff, And I think that you have to be happy with what you're doing as an individual.
Mhm.
And I try and encourage a lot of the artists to help them to motivate, to be original, to try and dig deep inside and find what makes you tick. Don't be afraid to step out and do something
Sure.
drastically different. That's why I love artists like Prince, who just they did everything. I'm going to play, I'm going to do this, and that's how I am. I'm writing, I'm singing, I'm dancing. If I want to act, why not? I think that basically media and what would I call people who have negative thoughts and stuff. They're the ones that try and hold you back. Think, oh, you shouldn't be able to. Go for it. Follow your dreams. I think that's the main thing, which is what I did, and I'm still searching for them as well.
It's cool.
I
That's
haven't
absolutely brilliant.
I haven't achieved everything. So for me, it didn't be it became not about having a chart hit anymore. It was just
Mhm.
about creating and
Yeah.
doing good music, good artistic stuff. Doing the filming in Zambia, that was an experience with the kids. And seeing how they lived, the lives that they lived, that showed that outside of where we live, other people have less than we have. So I'm
Mhm.
blessed for that, and it was a great experience. I mean, I went to South Africa, worked with Operation Hunger over there,
Mhm.
and for me, it's just a world of education and knowledge and how we can give back. And if there's ways I can, I will go for it.
Nice. So basically, you are not basically, you are as busy and as active as you've ever been. And
More so, because
nice.
with this box set album, there's a lot of work, and we're planning, and because we've been in lockdown, in actual fact, what's happened is, and I know you'll appreciate this, is that we've had to go back to the analog age, using the digital, but using the analog.
Mhm.
So it's like if people forget about using a pencil and paper because and I have loads of them because everybody's busy tapping, 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 tapping. And to be honest with you, my hand after a while, you tap, 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 it's like it's great just to sit down and write and actually have conversations with people again. That's an important thing.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of what people are talking about, and so I put them into my lyrics and into different ideas and things that we're doing. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm involved in. I mean, right now, on June the 24th, I believe, in Finsbury Park, by opposite Finsbury Park Station, there's going to be a charity event because of the volcano eruption in St. Vincent, which is
Mhm.
across the road from where my island is, which is in St. Lucia in the Caribbean. So if anyone wants to contribute, if you go to Finsbury Park Station, there's a hair salon called Aquarius.
Mhm.
And if you want to bring any contributions, any cans or anything, because there's a lot of people over there that they've lost their homes, and it's a terrible thing. So I'm going to be popping down
Cool.
on 24th of June just to give my support. And the
Nice.
day before is my birthday.
Well, happy birthday for the 23rd of June, yeah?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I'll be 100 years old.
Well, you look a lot younger on the outside than you really are. So, Lee, you mentioned a autobiography earlier. Tell us about
Mm.
that and how people can get it, please.
We are in the beginnings, early beginnings of career. Because the thing is, there's two situations. There's an actual autobiography,
Hmm.
and then we're talking about doing a coffee table book with images, especially the imagination time. Because we wore some fantastic outfits, crazy outfits. Some of them, I look at them, I say, who is that guy? God, I got legs and arms and showing and stuff like that. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So we're just trying to work the timing to try and get that together. But I think everything is kind of gearing for next year for the 40th
Okay.
anniversary. So
Come back and
right
have
now,
a chat then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
So come back and have a chat about, when it is the anniversary anyway.
Oh yes, yes,
Great,
yes, definitely, definitely.
And the
I
movie next
have.
year. Yeah, good.
It's going
And
to be.
and
I
the
mean,
movie is fantastic.
yeah, I mean, is a lifetime journey. It's been a lifetime. It's nearly 10 years I've been working on this project, and it's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of energy.
Mm.
And what's wonderful about it is there's a lot of people that are not with us anymore, and I interviewed, and who gave us some great music and some great DJs. Paul Trouble Anderson,
Sure.
George Powell from the Crackers days, Clem Curtis from the Foundations. I managed to sing with him once, Baby Now That I Found You, and I was like, I got chills because as a kid, I think 9 years old, I remember this song, and there I am singing with, the Foundations, and those moments to me mean a lot, and I think that it's the same where people come to me and they say, "Oh, In and Out of Love, that was one of my favorite records and stuff." And I do understand because I'm a fan of many artists too. So it's lovely that people, have the same feeling about, our music.
I think you mentioned earlier that the box set is for next year as well. So it's
It's going to be for
all happening
next
next
year.
year.
Yeah, yeah. That's going to be for later on the next year, which
Right.
we're compiling because we want to make sure that they have the original formats.
Mhm.
It's the original recordings, and then there'll be bonus mixes and stuff like that, and a few copies of the original versions because there were like say Flashback. There was a different lyric completely.
Okay.
And yeah,
Okay.
and then, those kind of scenarios, different versions of. There's the version
Wonderful.
of In the Heat of the Night, which was very different, um, and a few mixes of some of the songs, which some new DJs have done,
Mhm.
and also some behind the scenes stuff, which would be really cool. Really, really,
Oh,
it will be good listening, very good listening, and I think it shows the depth of the whole imagination experience and Lee John experience.
it just sounds all amazingly. Before we do wrap up, two very important things. First is, could you tell us about your charity again and remind everybody
Uh-huh.
website and how on Facebook or whatever that's got, please.
Well, if you go to my website, www.leejohn.com, everything is on there. I've just recently, I'm trying to help the St. Vincent charity. In actual fact, if you go to, I can't remember the website for it, but if you go to online to the St. Vincent Charity Relief,
Mhm.
um, and make a contribution. Or if you're in the Finsbury Park area and you come out of the station, you can't miss it. Aquarius Hair Salon. If you want to bring some tin foods or some shampoos or things for people who basically some of them are without a home at this point in time because of the volcano lava and the dust. It's affected everywhere. So that's one of them. And then I'm also a patron for SOS Children, which is a worldwide charity, which is on my website. Those details are on www.leejohn.com. Also on my website, you can see all the different activities, you can see all the videos, you can see some of my films and stuff on there as well.
Nice. And social media, Facebook, Twitter.
I'm on all of them. I'm on all of them. I really check Instagram and Twitter more because it's more up there. I find Facebook people are always punching each other.
Yeah. I see that.
No, I don't mean that physically, but you know what I'm saying. I'm into trying to keep things uplifting and positive, and obviously, if you have to make a statement, I truly do believe you should. But I
Mhm.
find that sometimes it will go on forever, And I think right now we need to try and keep everyone uplifting and positive, and you know see some light. You know, we're getting so much darkness when we turn on the news. You turn on the news and it's like that's the end of the day. So I think that, you know, we have to go out there and shine.
No, absolutely. And everybody that's listening to this, Lee, it's been a very upbeat interview. Thank you so much, Lee. Thanks.
Thank you. I hope to see you soon again. And I'll definitely be back.
That's cool, Lee. Lee John, thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You rise up to claim your crown. You must stand firm, keep your feet on the ground. Don't let nobody get in the face. Don't let nobody take your place. Don't let nobody cut off your way. Don't let nobody make you. Don't stop the world from turning. Keep on your fire burning. Don't stop forever learning. You can do it. Don't stop the world from turning. Keep on your fire burning. Don't stop forever learning. You can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
There you go.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.